My name is Kasia Grabska, or Katarzyna Grabska. I'm a research fellow and a project leader at the Graduate Institute of International and Development Studies at the Global Migration Center in Geneva. The idea of the film came out at the very beginning of the project. We had this idea of making a documentary film. Some of us already had previous experience as anthropologists who worked with visual media, with making films. And we felt strongly that it's very difficult to talk about experiences of groups that are marginalized and invisible and just do it through an academic publication, doing through a written word. So we wanted to visualize the stories of girls, in that particular case, migrating girls, who are very much invisible in the public discourses.
এই দিয়ে তো দিন চলবে না, সামনে তো ভবিষ্যৎ আছে। তখন নিজেও চিন্তা করলাম যে কথা তো ঠিক, একটা ওখানে আর কি দুইজনে কাজ করতাম, তো বলতেছে ঢাকায় যাব, তুমি যাবে।
It became also an empowerment project for the girls themselves, who could then tell their message on their own terms, in their own way, and the way they wanted to present themselves.
বছর বয়স ছিল ওই সময় বিয়ে দিছে আমার আব্বা আম্মা। পরে বিয়ে হয়েছে, বিয়ে হওয়ার কয় মাস মানে 5-6 মাস পর থেকে মানে অনেক অশান্তি, জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা, মারধর করে।
At the beginning, we thought about the film as just as a dissemination tool, a dissemination tool that will be able to reach wider public, whether for advocacy purposes, for influencing policy interventions, but also speaking to audience that might not be interested in migrating girls.
Well, I found it really interesting. I didn't really realize that there was a lot of problems, especially in those countries, but it really spoke to me because since I'm a girl, I can just imagine like what they went through and how difficult it must be for a woman in society, just generally, especially in poor countries, to like overpass all the challenges that they had to go through. Like they went to a new country, to a new place, they didn't have a home, they didn't have a job, they didn't know what they were doing.
When we started doing the film, we quickly realized that in fact this is not a separate project. The making of the film and then showing of the film became a fundamental part of our research. We used it as a material that we then analyzed and included in our written reports.
They told their story, that it was not someone else who was telling their story. So I found it very touching, and but I think the academic part was also necessary because we have to know the figures, the situation to be told in a certain way. So I thought both were very important.
Film is a very complicated medium to disseminate research findings. But I always say that, I think as academics, we try to build too much of a distance with the people we work with the research participants. So we only see it as a valuable piece of contribution when it's written by us.
I think the movie can help a lot in the advocacy sector and for the NGOs because it can be used for different audiences in different environments. So it can be used to address the issue with diplomats, but also in the NGO environment and with students, academics, and policymakers. So it's very much a tool to be used in a very different context.